We're often curious about songs, and we're often curious about the lyrics. And right now we have this particular song in mind.
And that particular song is called Shine by the artist Buddy, which should be recognisable by the sound of this. So all that we know about Buddy is that he was born Simi Sims III, and he was born in 1993. And this song Shine was released as a single in November 2016, but is on his debut album, which came out this year in 2018, called Harlan and Alondra. And I think Harlan and Alondra were areas that he grew up in. Like he grew up in the middle.
I think the area's in Compton.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what we know is he grew up in Compton, California. That's the west coast of the USA. And he grew up with a very Christian and like with a family that was very involved with church and the Christian church. His uncle was a pastor that they used to visit all the time, and I think his father is now currently a pastor as well. And his father used to always get involved with I think choir and performances, getting Buddy involved in all of that as well. So he had a lot of experience, with singing and performing arts and stuff. And I think at a very young age, or I think for school and all, he got involved with school plays and musicals. So he's always been involved with the performing arts. And Buddy also mentions that is his edge over a lot of other current musicians, because he grew up being a performing artist. He's always grew up in that field, which makes sense. Something you've been doing since you're a child. You got to be good at it.
Yeah,
Sure.
definitely.
So the song we can see is pretty much about his journey through life and how he wants to become something great, and how he doesn't want to let the troubles of his environment, his neighborhood, and people around him bring him down and make him lose focus. So that he could excel and grow. And we can see this song has a lot of Christian references and influences in it, because he has said he's a very Christian man. Which is always a beautiful thing. It means he has good faith. And a lot of goodness.
I think it's quite romantic.
Of course. Now, all right. So the song, it begins with verse 1, goes over to the hook or the chorus, verse 2, hook or chorus, verse 3, hook or chorus again.
So it's structured very simply. Okay.
Yes.
So verse 1 starts off with, driving through the fog with my high beams, putting on my Visine, let me tell you just what I seen. So we looked at what Visine is, and it's just a brand of eye drops.
Eye drops to relieve you of irritations, itchiness, and when your eyes are possibly red. Because there are moments and instances in life where your eyes, they may turn very red, and the sight of somebody with red eyes can cause a lot of suspicion, unwanted suspicion, in fact. So our artist, Buddy, he is explaining how he's taken the step to rid himself of all suspicion, no matter what they may be about. With these eye drops.
And he's just about to tell you what visions he has, driving through the fog with red eyes, and while he attempts to rid himself of those red eyes.
According to Rap Genius, I think there was an interview with him, and so he's left some comments about particular lines in the song. And with this one, he was talking about how, he was driving through, obviously, the foggy weather, and his eyes were red because of a particular consumption of his, which happens to be, some marijuana. And he enjoyed driving through because as he was driving along, he looked up to the clouds, and I guess he had some visions, because as known by many others, when you are on certain medications, you do sort of come across a few hallucinations. Some call them visions, but you sort of see things that may not be there in reality, and I think he may have had the same thing. But we'll see what he saw with the next line. But yeah, I think here we don't see it as so much a hallucination, but he probably just had a good thought, or a good he understood goodness, in his time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he talks about when he was looking up in the clouds, he said he's part of the Cloud Appreciation Association. Is that a thing? The Cloud Appreciation?
I think it's just
or is he just saying
pop culture reference?
Oh, okay.
It's just it's a colloquial.
I thought it was an actual committee that gets together and then they make political moves about.
I don't think so.
Appreciating the clouds or something.
I think it's just a name for people.
Are they meteorologists or something?
No. I think it's just a name for people who are dreamers, essentially, who like to look up at the clouds and just appreciate.
Does that make you a dreamer to look up at the clouds? Because I'm curious about this because I don't mean to sound like a daydreamer, but sometimes I can't help but just get lost, staring up at the clouds.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to strictly mean that you're a dreamer. It just means that you probably appreciate, the other things in life, little things in life as well. You take the time to just kind of sit back and relax and just think about life and appreciate what's within it.
Yeah, I think when I look at the clouds as well, it's not that I'm looking at them directly and I'm watching their every movement and every shape and form that they take. There is a bit of that, but a lot of the time as well I'm just looking out in the open. It's kind of like I don't know, it feels nice to just look up and just let your mind relax. There's something very therapeutic about looking up into a big open space.
Yeah.
Because I think, as humans in civilization, we're always within, confined spaces or boxes, as some people like to say. We're always in boxes. A room is a box, a car's a box. We're always in we're in confined, enclosed places. And I think, I don't know about other people, but for me, it's relieving when I can just look out and see I'm not in a blocked enclosed space. There's actually all this space out there, and I think it helps my mind just feel like there's space as well. It's not trapped.
Yeah.
I don't have to trap my mind and just here complete focus. There's other things I can think about and aspire to. I guess. He's probably talking about his aspirations.
Yeah, he's probably talking about that too. Yeah. I don't know what he officially means by Cloud Appreciation Association, but I have an idea.
Yeah, he probably he has a good time with staring up at the clouds as well. You don't like staring up at the clouds?
No, I do.
As awkward as it sounds. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I'm just wondering. You didn't have much to say about it.
No, I don't. I just.
You're not one of those people. Sometimes you look up at the cloud and oh hey, that looks like blah blah blah. Oh hey, that looks like, because I always notice things and I always think they look similar to another thing.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
that type of
sometimes I
person.
do, but usually I'm driving and I can't just look away.
Well, I mean,
off
when
the
you have
road.
the time. To
Yeah,
just-
when I like when I do notice the clouds, like sometimes I do look up and I'm like, oh, that looks like a dragon. Yeah.
You never had those times where you just hang out with someone and you just like look up, and you guys just conversate, daydream together. I think you never had any of those.
Not really, to be really honest.
Oh, you're probably always in a room.
I'm
or
always in a
something.
box. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe when you go catch up with other people, you should take them to an outdoor cafe or something, or take them somewhere outdoors. You go 1,000 steps. There's a cafe there. Hang out there.
Yeah.
You look up in the sky.
Yeah.
I haven't been to 1,000 steps in a while.
Yeah. I know.
I think I need to go back.
That's how I feel. Yeah.
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 But yeah, I don't know. I just remember back when we used to hang out with the guys a lot. Sometimes we go and like we'd be chilling out, like, oh hey, that looks like this, that looks like that, kind of thing.
Yeah. I used to do it a lot as a kid, but not so much when I got a bit older.
Yeah, well,
That sounds really a bit sad, but
there's always time. There's always hope.
Yeah.
Don't worry, your time is not over. Yeah, I just thought it was a big club or association that I could probably sign up for. But, I want to join that. It's
yeah,
cool.
I think it's broader than that.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Anyway, so moving on. So what he sees, or the vision that he has, are angels falling from the sky. I just hope that they can take me back to where the pearly gates be. So what I initially thought it meant was that angels were coming down from, like, he saw angels coming down from the sky to kind of stand by his side, and he was kind of like, I think, like, when they stand by his side, I think it's just kind of to say that he's blessed. And may goodness be with you, or goodness is with him. And then he was hoping that when they go back up into the sky where the pearly gates are, and the pearly gates are heaven, the gates to heaven, he was hoping that when they go back up into the sky that they would take him up there with him. When the time is right for it.
Yeah. With the angels falling from the sky and hoping that they can take him back, I did grow up with a lot of Christian influence, because I went to different Christian schools and all that, so I've always had good people around me. And when I do, sometimes when I go through things in life, I kind of look at it in that Christian influence, spiritual manner as well. Like, those influences affect how I perceive certain things. Sometimes things are happening in life and I'm not happy about things that are going on, but then as the days go by, sometimes like people come in my life and they're really good, like I just know they're really good, and like they're just always helpful, and I feel like man, I'm getting a blessing from these people, and I happen to see these people like they're like angels to me, like these are heavenly people that for some reason they've been put in my life, and they're doing good things and they're making things easier for me. He could be talking about there's people in his life and they're giving him goodness, they're blessing him with their good energy and doing good things, because I see that, like,
I didn't think of it that way.
just there are many good people out there, like you probably won't even recognize them or see them, because like sadly, here on earth everything looks different. Everyone looks different. Like, this person might look like a bad person, this person will look like an ugly person, this guy looks like a snob. Who's he's no one important. But you don't realize that all these people, like, they've got so much goodness in them, and what they do for other people and for the community or for everyone around, it's amazing. And sometimes I think, like, man, they're angels. Like they're angels, and I wish other people in life appreciated them the way that I see them. They may not be like heaven, like literally heavenly angels, like falling down from above, but they're pretty damn close to what that would be,
Yeah.
an angel. That's what I see.
That's a good way to see things.
That's what I reckon, because
Yeah.
from what we found out with Buddy, he grew up with a very Christian life, and he's probably got some very good people
With him.
in his life. Yeah. Or maybe, given that he's grown up with that very Christian life, he's probably been through things in life, and he's been able to perceive particular people in a way like, man, even though everything is dark and stuff around you, like, this guy is like light in the darkness. This person
Yeah.
is good, and he can see certain individuals in that way.
Yeah.
Not only the Christian people around him, but he'll probably perceive even others that don't even say anything,
Yeah.
religious. They're not even involved religiously. He can just see like
The
the good
goodness,
nature.
yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm not
Right.
talking about very religious individuals. I'm talking about just
Yep.
your regular people.
Yeah,
Just like
yep.
people you wouldn't expect, to have that kind of impact in you. I think that's what he found through this,
Yeah.
He probably just realized, wow, when he was driving, he just realized, wow, these people, or like whoever he was thinking of, like, that these people are good to me.
Yeah, I'm surrounded by good people.
Yeah, because in Rap Genius, he talks about, he's seen the angels and they tell him, like, everything's good, like, you're good.
Yeah.
It's probably like the good people, making him feel better about life, It's not actually an angel coming down from the heavens and then, actually giving him a message. Unless that's the actual truth. Like, that's amazing. I wish we could get more documentation of, such...
That's what you call miraculous.
Yeah, like, I would love to, know more about such a phenomenon.
Yeah.
But I don't know, this is only like what we know so far.
Yeah. Or what we can take from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing from angels falling from the sky, this is me looking deeper into the wording.
Yeah. Can I guess something to do with like the devil and Lucifer? And...
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, it was actually not that.
Okay.
That's a good one that we could go on as well, but I think we'll leave that for all the Christians out there that might be heartbroken to hear about that. Because me, I enjoy my writing, and I'm very particular about how sentences are structured or words are put together and all. It's like from things I've learnt from school. He says angels falling from the sky. Like, I take it with that sort of negative connotation of falling. And what if it meant that these heavenly figures, these good, righteous, what do we call them? I don't want to call them people. Figures, yeah. These good, righteous figures, they were falling from heaven, like, they turned from good to bad. Like that,
they fell from grace.
Like the devil.
Yeah.
Or they not accidentally, but like, they kind of lost their footing and then fell out of heaven, and it's more like a tragedy that happened. You're like, oh my God, he fell down, and not actually descending from heaven, because it's just
because it says falling.
Yeah, the word falling, it made me like, oh damn, it's like, that pickup line. You're like, oh, excuse me, did that hurt? And you're like, oh, what? It's like, oh, when you fell down from heaven. Yeah. It's like that. Like, when you fall, that's an incident.
Yeah.
That's, oh my God. Like, no offense, but when old people fall, that's a big thing, because their bodies aren't strong enough to
withstand the fall.
Yeah, survive the impact. A lot of old people, their bodies will be strong enough, but we have to take into consideration that they may not have the strength to recover.
Yeah.
As well as a younger individual.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought, maybe the angels falling from the sky, like, maybe he saw a tragedy.
Yeah.
It could be even like, good people and their lives being taken, and it's like, oh, you don't want to see, like, something happen to good people kind of thing. But I don't know.
Yeah, or like with that, people kind of falling from grace or going from good to
there's that
not
too.
so good. Maybe he's saying that he's done some of those same things as well, but he's still hoping that they can take him into heaven when he does cross over and die.
Yeah.
Because he says, I just hope that they can take me back to where the pearly gates be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and I forgot to say, yeah, exactly. I forgot to say as well, when I was talking about how he can perceive these people, these individuals, and he just thinks like they're so good that he probably sees them like they're like angels. He probably hopes that these guys are definitely going to heaven. I hope they can take me along too.
Yeah.
You know, when they pass away, they're going to go to heaven. Like, you know, they'll vouch for him, you know,
Yeah.
at the gates. Like, when he's at the gates of heaven and he's trying to get in, he's like, yeah, like, can I get in? He's like, oh, who are you? He's like, oh, I know Thingy.
Yeah.
And then, like, Thingy's at the back, like, yeah, let him in, he's good.
No, he's good. He's with me. He's with
He's
me.
cool. Yeah, he's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like, yeah, he's probably means it like that as well.
Yeah. All right. So after that, he says, and I've been counting down the days because I know we got to die soon. That just means I get to fly soon. Here, I think he's just accepting death as a part of life. Yeah.
It definitely sounds like he knows death is just something we can't help. You know, it's part
It's
of
inevitable.
Yeah, it's part of our life. It's the end of our life, but we're all gonna have an end in a sense, you know. And I think that's an empowering thing when you understand that, you know, we're not gonna live forever.
Yeah.
There are ways that we can live forever, and you'll see through this song that he's probably trying to achieve such a
feat.
yeah.
The part where it says that just means I get to fly soon just means that when he does die, that he'll be able to fly up into the skies and be in heaven. Yeah.
He probably has good faith in himself that when he does pass away,
That he will be going up.
he assumes that he's going to go to a better place in the afterlife. Because oh man, I feel so bad saying this. Like, I'm gonna say from what I believe. Everyone can get angry at me or not, but it's hard to be certain what happens in the afterlife, or if there is an afterlife. Because I know we should all have good faith, and you know, understand, you know, those will go to heaven or hell. You know, depending on how they live their lives and all that stuff. But I don't know, growing up with all the Christian teachings, I didn't understand living life, then going to heaven and hell in the afterlife, the way it was taught like that. I understood living your life in a way will bring you to heaven and hell, meaning if you live a good life, your life will be like heaven for you. Where if you have a bad life, you live in a bad way, you make bad decisions and all that, your time here on earth, it will feel like hell.
Yeah.
It's not actually what you go to in the afterlife. I feel like it's how you create your present life.
Yeah. Hence the saying, heaven is a place on earth.
Yeah, just like that. You know, it's I don't know, I'm sorry for all the Catholics and Christians and all that, but that's the way I've always taken it, because you know, I've made lots of bad decisions in life and a lot of good decisions, and depending on how I work my life and how often I choose what certain decisions, it does kind of make life more heavenly, or life more like hell. And I'm pretty sure that's the teachings that Jesus was trying to give all the people around him back in the day.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because, you know, when he was living around, you know, a lot of people were bad and unhappy and bitter. And he was just that guy that came around and just wanted to tell everyone, hey,
there's a different way.
Yeah, like we don't all have to be bad and angry. Like, let's all try to be more positive and, like, you know, show positivity to everyone, you know, show love. Like, that's all he was trying to say is, let's all be good, and let's try to create a nice, peaceful environment, and we're all going to live happily and peacefully.
Yeah.
We're all going to live in heaven.
Yeah.
That's what I always thought Jesus meant. You know,
I like that sort of interpretation better.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think it sounds nicer to me.
Yeah, sadly, it might undermine a lot of the faith of religion, and that's why I apologize. But I'm a nobody, so don't worry about what I say. You know, you can call me a heretic, a heathen, whatever you want. But it's how I've kind of interpreted it, because through what I've experienced, you know, it's how I see things. You know, it's what made sense to me with the teachings. But yeah, it's like you were saying, like, it works. It's a good understanding. I like to say it's a good understanding because it works with what, like, people's lives now. It can have an immediate effect.
Yeah.
You know,
If you apply it
you
to your life in that way.
You
Yeah.
don't have to wait for the afterlife to go to heaven. You can actually see the heaven you'll create for yourself.
Yeah.
Just by making the right decisions, good decisions.
Yeah.
Sometimes the right decisions might not be good decisions. You know, this is where it gets a bit more philosophical, because, like, you know, living with goodness or making the right decisions, it could be different, because the right decisions will always have got to do with your goal, and your goal may not be entirely filled with goodness.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're getting into more complex ideas.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have a very big problem with talking about all this. Keep us on track.
Yeah. All right. So we'll move on from here. Okay. So the lines after that go, and I know I'm not the only one out here that's not afraid. Alrighty, now I'm finally on my way. I think he's just saying, with the first line how it says, and I know I'm not the only one out here that's not afraid, he's just saying that there are many others out there that have this faith in God like him as well, and unwavering faith in God.
Yeah. Or he could be talking about a lot of people who understand mortality or morality. They understand that, you know, in life you're gonna die. You know? So he probably, maybe he's talking about that, but that doesn't work with the song, obviously.
Yeah.
He's probably talking about people with good faith, and they know, like, you know, they're hoping they go to heaven too.
Yeah.
Are there people like that with a certainty that they're gonna go to heaven? Because
I don't know.
That's a tough thing.
I'm not one of those people.
That's tough to be certain that you're gonna go to heaven. You know?
Yeah.
'Cause, like, you know, how the worst judge anyone has is themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I
You
mean?
are your own worst
Yeah.
critic.
And I feel like no matter how good I'm gonna be, like, even my whole life I was like the goodest or the best person ever, the most righteous person ever. Like, I feel like if I was that type of person, I'd still be critical to myself. Like, am I really gonna go to heaven?
Yeah.
What about that time that I sneezed and I didn't, like, you know, cover my mouth? Like, I'm a sinner. I don't know. But do you know
Or
what
if
I
someone
mean?
sneezed in front of me and I didn't say God bless you.
Yeah. But the thing I was wondering is, like, you know, are there people out there that they're certain that they're going to heaven? And
There probably are. I mean,
Really?
Buddy is certain he's going to heaven.
you reckon he's certain?
Yeah, I think he is. I'm not
I
certain
feel
about
like-
myself going to heaven, but
No, I feel like, you know, everyone's got to kind of be fair on themselves. And, you know,
Yeah.
realize, you know, not everyone's perfect. You know?
yeah.
I don't
That's
know.
why I'm saying I'm not certain, because I know I'm not
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
Yeah. And when he says, alrighty, now I'm finally on my way, I think he just means that he's finally on his way to achieving his goals, or that he's on his way on the path of goodness.
Yeah, he says he's finally on his way. So I think this is probably him feeling that he now understands what he should be doing. You know, because I think he's like now, you know, he's a young adult, and, you know, being a young adult, he's learned more through his life, and he's finally come to that point in his life where he understands, all right, I know how to be good, and I know how to, you know, guarantee my ticket into the pearly gates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Into the pearly gates.
Oh, he says pearly gates
Yeah.
throughout this whole thing.
The
which-
pearly gates, like, that's just the gates of heaven.
yeah, we understand that as heaven, I guess.
And they're
because-
pearly because it's kind of shiny and pure and white, or...
Yeah, I got more things to say which, like, might make people upset, but yeah. So we understand heaven to be this place. I think above the clouds. I don't know. It's always pictured being in a cloudy place, kind of thing. But the idea.
But we all know what's beyond the clouds. It's space.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But with heaven, it's always been understood to have certain gates, you know, and this gate is to stop the wrong individuals from entering. You know, like for example, those who don't deserve to enter heaven, and I don't know. It sounds like a good thing, and it's at the same time it sounds kind of sad and exclusive, you know. Because what if there are people that mistakenly don't get into heaven, even though they might deserve it? And but it's also the thing with the gates thing. It's an enclosed place, you know. It sounds very discriminatory, you know. But fair enough, you know. They have their rules. Like you got to be good and righteous, because if you don't, then you should go to hell, or you should stay in purgatory.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like the idea that there's a heaven, but at the same time, you know, as long as there's a heaven, I feel like there's always gonna be an evil, and like when you bring that dichotomy there, of course people are going to be evil, because the way they've been treated is like, you know, how can they ever become good if you never let them through the gates?
Yeah.
This gets into quite a big kind of like argument.
Yeah. I get where you're going with it.
And I'm not touching on this argument from the right angle, or rather like the right way, you know? So I'm gonna stop speaking about it before people start pointing fingers at me like, hey, you, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the fact that heaven is understood as a place with gates and probably big walls keeping people out, like that makes me question like how good heaven is. Even though it's supposed to be a really good place, but when we know goodness and what's good, that varies from individual
Person
to
to person,
individual,
yeah.
or culture to culture. What's
Yeah.
really goodness and what isn't.
Yeah.
You know, and see, that's what makes the understanding.
And what defines definitively what good is, you
Yeah.
know, because being good is different to all cultures, like every
Yeah,
single
all different
person.
people,
Yeah.
See, that's what makes
Yeah.
heaven a bit more of a trickier like thing to understand for me.
Yeah, there are different magnitudes of what good is.
Yeah,
and-
because like I spend my life with so many different types of people, and what some people think are good are definitely not what other people think are good. But to me, all these people are good, and it's weird. Like I understand, I know how I see one person is good is not good in another culture, but I don't take any sides in what makes both of them good, and I just see they're good in their own way. And it's hard, because like how can I decide, all right, out of these two individuals, who's going to heaven?
Yeah.
You know, because they're both good and they're both bad, and it's tricky. I don't know, but I'm not the porter at the heavenly gates that's going to decide that. It's like, because I've never been to the heavenly gates, you know, I've never seen it. Well, maybe I have. I don't know. Maybe I haven't, but I don't know. It's not for me to say or pass my judgment, because you know, I'm just a man. Yeah, sorry. Okay.
Oh, good.
Okay, I'll stop
So
touching.
we're moving on.
I'll stop getting into these questions.
And then he goes, I know I can't fail if God testing my faith, and if I don't hurry, I might be too late. I know I can't fail if God testing my faith part. I don't know, maybe he's just referencing that God is good and God does good by him.
I think we read on Rap Genius that, you know, he's a Christian guy, and he lives his life well, like good. And, you know, growing up, you know, from a young kid to a teenager to a young adult, you know, he was like pretty much learning life, you know, and you know he understands that he's been tempted by,
Or been
you know,
tested.
yeah,
Yeah.
tempted and tested by, you know, bad things, good things, and you know, and I think he understands that, you know, he's done bad things, especially as when he was young, because you know when you're young you learn, like you make mistakes, you learn. Like he's made bad decisions and all that, and even though he's made bad decisions, he's always seeked forgiveness, you know, or he's always sought atonement.
Yeah.
And I think he feels that makes him better, like, or makes him good, I
Yeah.
should say, because like, you know he understands he's made mistakes and he asks for God's forgiveness,
Yeah.
you know, and that's why he probably says, you know, he can't fail if God tests him, because he's already been tested by God, you know, and he's already, you know, been honest with his maker.
Yeah. When it goes, and if I don't hurry, I might be too late. As in, like, he's trying to hurry on to achieve his goals.
Yeah, he probably
think?
I think it's got to do with him understanding, you know, we're all gonna die someday, and you know, he doesn't really want to waste his time
Yeah.
being alive, you know.
Yeah. He's probably worried that it'll be a wasted opportunity if he doesn't hurry along.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
could be an individual that, you know, may have made a lot of wrong decisions in his life, and now he feels he has a whole lot to do to atone for his bad decisions, and you know, so he has to hurry along. He's got so much to do before he can balance out his good and evil scale
Yeah.
to be more good rather than more bad.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It's. I'm just like, you know, just wondering. You know,
Yeah, I'm just wondering too.
Yeah, just assuming.
Okay.
But
So,
I think he's a pretty good guy. So.
yeah, I think he's a pretty good
Yeah,
guy.
It seems that, you know, from what I could tell from reading through the song, and some of his other music, he grew up in Compton. You know, a lot of bad things happen, but I don't know. From what I could tell, I think he's just been a goody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he
Or at
doesn't
least
really-
tries to be.
Yeah,
You know, yeah, because he does, you know, mention that he gets tempted and tested.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you know he has a good upbringing, I guess, or like he's got a Christian family.
Yeah.
You know, and a Christian family, like, you know, they always try to guide the youth towards goodness.
Yeah.
I don't know, but at the same time, given that he's has a very Christian family, I think that can cause the young to kind of rebel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like strive for something else. It's like, you know, those stories of like those girls, and you know that they grew up in a strict family, and their father and mother always wanted to be good. And then, you know, these girls they're likely to not want to be good because they've just been suffocated by this goodness the whole life. You know, that they do want to rebel, and maybe he went through that.
Yeah.
You know, given that he could have grown up with so much, with too much
Goodness,
good faith,
yeah.
where he didn't get to adventure.
Yeah.
You know, what all youth strive for, which is
Yeah.
adventure, and like seeking the truth of the world.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty hard to seek the truth in the world if people are telling you what they think the truth is.
Yeah.
You know, this is right and this is wrong. That's all you have to know. You don't have to go out in the world to find out. You just listen to what we say.
Yeah.
Because sadly, you know, with strict upbringings, it's kind of like that. You know, you get told what life is, and you don't get to see it for what it is.
Is,
you know?
yeah.
You don't get to see it for yourself. Yeah. So maybe, you know, he kind of rebelled against his, you know, his good family,
Yeah.
and maybe.
And,
Maybe, you know, he went out and, you know, went and rebelled.
yeah. And
But-
now his conscience is overcoming him, and
Yeah.
he's trying to seek atonement, and he's trying to
Yeah.
do it quickly before
He's
before
maybe-
he's not forgiven.
There's a Christian story about that. It's called the prodigal son. You know that?
Oh, the prodigal son returns. I just know that as a saying, but
Yeah.
I don't actually know the story.
So the story is about I think this kid this
Oh,
family.
you're going to tell a story? Okay. Oh, yeah, it's story time. Yep.
Okay, I think the story was I can't remember completely, but there's a family. It's a father. He's got 3 sons or something. He's got a good farm. You know, they're living well, and you know this father's telling everyone, "All right, guys, work hard. You know, keep your head down. Like we'll make this farm grow. Everything's going to be good because look at us. Like we're well off." And then one of the sons was like, "You know what? I'm sick of this farm, you know, I want to see what else is out there in the world." But the father's like, no, trust me, there's nothing out there. Just trust me. If you stay here in the farm, you keep your head down, do good, you'll be good for life. But given that this son was young, you know, he was curious about life, you know, like there's a whole big world out there, like so many things to do. And, you know, he wanted to go out. So he took some of his father's riches and he went out and he enjoyed his life, you know. He went lavish. He got real wild, you know. You know, he went to like all these parties and you know, got to know lots of people. He probably like, you know, got a lot of like strippers and cocaine
Oh, yeah.
and all that. And then through all like his time, you know, just being wild, like the young guy who went away, who left his family, I think he started to realize that he wasn't really satisfied, or like he felt incomplete in his life. No, that's not a good way to say it. Let's just say, you know, after all this partying and all that stuff, you know, you look around you and you want to hope that there's good things around you, like a good home or like a good family there to look after you. You know, you got people that you love, people that look after you. And he probably woke up and he looked around, like he had nothing. You know, everything was just consumables. You know, like there's probably just rubbish everywhere. He probably woke up and he just thought, man, I got nothing here. And he realized, you know, maybe he partied a bit more, tried to like, you know, live the good life. And then as days went by, he just thought, nah, you know, he knew he didn't feel complete because he probably didn't have like the good things that make a human feel complete, like family. You know? Yeah. And then so he just realized, nah, I gotta go back home. I gotta go back to that farm, you know, because he knew. Oh, and I think what happened as well was through all the partying, he started running out of money, you know, and I think he tried to find a good job, but he couldn't. Like I think he found a job, but they were paying crap all. And he remembers, man, I was like living in this farm. Like I was working hard, but I wasn't working that hard. And, you know, and I had heaps of food. I had everything, you know.
Yeah.
And he probably missed his family as well. So he came back home. And then the father just saw him. Like he was scared to face his father, you know. Because the father was like upset. Like, you piece of crap, you left home. You're making us like work hard on this farm. But when he came home, the father was just so happy to see him. Like, and he just welcomed him back.
Yeah.
That's the story
Of the prodigal son.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there was more to it. I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's
But as you remember it, it was like that.
I feel that story is just about, you know, being young and trying to find out the truth about the world. Because who knows, maybe that father, you know, may have been the prodigal son in his time as well, you know. You know,
So it's an inherited thing then.
yeah, they're all prodigal sons. Probably the other brothers as well. They were all being.
They had their phase.
Yeah, like it's a usual thing.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on, the last line of verse 1 goes, "Even with all of this darkness in my grave," and then it'll link on to the chorus. But let's just quickly discuss this last line. It goes, "Even with all of this darkness in my grave," I just attribute that to when you die and then you get buried under the ground, it's obviously going to be very dark because you'll be covered up and stuff in your grave, you know, when you're lying there in your coffin.
Yeah, I think it might have to do with how a lot of people they don't think that there's anything in the afterlife. As well. So,
there's
you know,
nothing. They think that's just it.
Once you're dead, that's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing. It's just
it's just darkness.
Yeah, darkness is supposed to represent no life.
Yeah.
Apparently.
And then it links on to the chorus.
Yeah. But before that, I think we should sum up verse 1.
Yep. So in summary, we thought that verse 1 was just Buddy talking about his faith in God and how he's not afraid to go how he's not afraid to die, or he's not afraid of death, and that he's almost certain that he will make it to heaven because of his faith in God.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much.
That's it.
In verse 1, there's a line where he goes like, now he's finally on his way. And with that finally part, it does seem that, you know, he's got into a stage in his life where it must be heading towards goodness, or it must be complete goodness. And yeah, so I think he feels that he will make his way into heaven when his time is over. Yeah. All right.
And so it jumps into the chorus, and the chorus goes on to say, I still can't help but shining. I can't help but shine.
Shining.
I still can't help but shine.
Shining.
And we can't help but shine.
Shining.
And that repeats itself.
Yep.
So as we were saying, the last line of verse 1 links on to that. So it says, even with all of this darkness in my grave, I still can't help but shine. And we just kind of interpreted the shining part to mean
A whole different bunch of things.
Yeah.
You know? There's like all these different things.
Yeah, I thought it was probably in reference to his unwavering faith in God, and also how his shining, as in he's walking on the path of goodness, and this path is like a golden shining path. Like, I still can't help but shine because I am on this path. And the last thing that we thought that he meant was that he stands out from the rest, that he's just really good.
Yeah, I think we could be a bit more specific than that. Like, maybe he means when he says he's shining, like, you know, when he stands out from the rest, like, he probably feels that he's someone that people will notice. And we don't know why. Maybe he feels people notice him because he's a good guy, and people recognize him as a good guy. Maybe that's why he feels like he shines. Maybe he is a good-looking guy. He probably thinks like he's really good-looking, and, you know, all the ladies like, oh, it's him. You know, it's that shiny guy.
Yeah.
Maybe he's good to all his friends, and like all his friends and family recognize him as like someone that they can they're happy to see, you know, a light in the darkness, you know.
Yeah, it could just mean positivity. Even with all the darkness, the negativity, he still stays positive.
Yeah. Maybe he sees like, maybe he hopes that he has this goodness in him, like, you know how we said how he might interpret other people and them being angels. Maybe he feels like he's one of those individuals that does good for people, you know, and like he can't help it, you know, it's his nature. It's in his nature to just be, you know, a good person. That's what it could mean as well. Or it could be he can't help that it's in his nature to be outstanding. Because now he is a performing artist or a musician, you know. So he does want to stand out compared to the rest.
Because he's like, he's well recognized now.
And you know, he's a I could say he's famous now. You know, would we say he's famous? Yeah, he's definitely.
Would say so,
he's more famous than me. Like, but yeah, he's a famous person. So he's probably just saying like he can't help but be a person that's going to be famous.
Or noticeable.
It goes on, and it says, and we can't help but shine. So what do you think he means by that?
And maybe he means himself and God.
Himself and God?
Yeah.
And not maybe people with him?
Maybe the people with him, maybe his family as well.
Yeah.
The people that he holds dear to him.
He could also be the kind of guy that he feels like he's unified with good people, you know. All the good people out there, you know, you're all unified in me, and we're all gonna shine.
Yeah.
So to conclude the chorus, the main thing is just we understood that shine could have different meanings. You know, there's a bit of an ambiguity to it, but which is why it works, and which is probably why he chose it, because he probably
Yeah.
meant shine in, you know, in his goodness, and you know how he is to people.
Yeah.
Shine as in like his faithfulness, and especially to his religion.
Yeah.
You know, like shine in his career path as a
Yep.
musician. You know, he's just going to be outstanding. You know, like he's going to be the one that everyone notices and sees, because like, you know, he's shining.
Yeah.
What else?
And did we say his unwavering faith in God?
Yeah,
The most recurrent theme of the song.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess so. Yeah, I think we said that. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah. You guys get the gist of it.
There's lots of ways he's going to shine.
Yeah, so interpret it in any way you so choose to.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to verse 2. So right after the chorus, he begins verse 2 by saying, "Ever since I was a little baby, this has been amazing. Thank you for the life you gave me." I think he's just showing his gratitude here, with having or thinking that he has a blessed life because of God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could be referring to, you know, he was blessed with a good family that looked after him.
Yeah.
You know, we don't know of, you know, the socio-economic status.
Yeah.
I think we get clues in other songs that his family may not have been of the highest order of socio-economic statuses.
Yeah, so I don't think he came from a very affluent or wealthy family
Yeah, but they were
or area.
But they were likely good people, you know, strong religious faith. And yeah, he probably was, he feels blessed to have grown up with, you know, such individuals.
Yeah.
And, you know, not only his family, but like, you know, the friends and the community around him.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, he probably grew up with a good community.
Yeah.
And he's probably happy about that. So, like, you know, whether they were rich or not, that wasn't important. It was, you know, the soul and the righteousness that they probably brought forth.
Yeah.
That's what was good.
Yeah.
You know? He probably sees that as amazing.
Yeah.
Because-
That's why, yeah, it's amazing.
Because as a baby, I don't think you then and there look around like, this is amazing.
Yeah, I think
You're-
your earliest memories start when you're about 3 or 4 years old. I don't think you remember anything before that.
Yeah, and whether you remember it or not, you kind of need life experience to be able to compare something to be amazing and not
Yeah.
amazing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I mean, like when you're a baby, you've got nothing much to compare to.
Yeah,
You know?
unless you know, theories of genetic inheritance of memory like is true, or like
Or you remember your past life and you've been reincarnated into this person now.
yeah, I don't know if that works with Christian faith. That sort of
Reincarnation, stuff like that.
it kind of does and it kind of doesn't. I don't know. Is that heathenness to Christians?
I don't know.
Because you're supposed to have.
You're the expert in this field because I was raised Buddhist.
I think you're supposed to have lived your life, and then that's your time to see whether or not you deserve to go to heaven or hell, which I don't know is just, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think they believe in reincarnation. I'm not sure
I'm not sure. Either.
because that defeats the whole going to heaven and hell thing.
Yeah,
unless
that's true.
unless you know, when you're in heaven, you've only got a set amount of time. Like, your stay is only for like, you know, a couple of years, and after that you got to go back to Earth and, you know,
As a
relive
tree.
your life
Yeah.
or whatever you get reincarnated to. I
Yeah.
think with Buddhists that they believe in reincarnation. Do they?
I think we do.
I think they do.
I'm not sure. I think we do.
Yeah.
The reincarnation. Yeah, I think we do. I don't know.
The idea of reincarnation is beautiful, but my reasoning and logical mind kind of fights away of that notion.
Yeah.
I love the thought. I think it's romantic and it's beautiful. You know, I love you know, romantic fantasies.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying fantasies in a bad way. Like, I love fantasies, you know, like they keep me going in life, you know. They give me hope in a sense, you know, just because, like, you know, for example, I could read some fiction, and just because it's fiction doesn't mean it's encouraged. It doesn't mean it hasn't encouraged me. Like, it has, you know, whether it's fiction or not.
Yeah.
It could be a story about someone going through things, and, you know, and maybe it's enough to drive me to be a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah, whether it's fantasy or not. But yeah. Anyway,
Moving on.
yeah, he knows, he understands that he has good things in his life. And
Yeah.
he wants to thank the pinnacle of his religion for that, which is the Christian Catholic God.
The faith.
Yeah, you know, because he says thankful for the light that you gave me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's not only talking about his. Maybe he's just talking about his parents. Or you think he's? I feel like he's talking about his God.
I think he's talking about his God too, because like, it's, you know, it's a recurrent theme in the song. I'm pretty sure it's talking about God there.
Yeah.
Yeah. The line after that says, "With every step and every breath, know that I've been living by you. Lord, just tell me, what should I do?"
Yeah, so I think he's definitely talking about his God.
Yeah. I think he's just saying throughout his life he lives by the words and guidance of God.
Yeah.
And he relies on God's guidance to, you know, tell him what to do, to guide him through life when he's going through some sort of issue or trouble in his life.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
see, with this part, I don't know if we when we talk about someone living like that through God's words, I don't think we literally mean God is speaking to him then and there and telling him that. I think it's got to do, you know, what he learns
His, like,
from
God's
his
teachings.
religion.
Yeah, the
from-
teachings.
from his religions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which we're not sure if it's God's teachings. It always makes me curious about the stories of when God does actually speak to certain individuals,
Yeah.
like Abraham or Moses or to Jesus. I'm very interested in those stories of when apparently this is God speaking in language. Language is a human construct,
Yeah.
you know, and something is communicating to people in that sense. I don't know if he's actually verbally, like through audio, he's actually saying it, or it's something they're interpreting in their minds, or I don't know. But
Yeah.
but these individuals that have been written in the old texts, like the Bible and such, they've been in actual contact with a
Higher being.
with a presence, that's
Yeah.
able to communicate with them, and that scares me a lot.
They could be schizophrenic.
Yeah,
Hallucinating.
maybe, I don't know. They could, like, something could have happened. I don't know,
Yeah.
but it's hard to say what the teachings of God are, because, like, I don't know. Maybe when these people, they experience God and communication with God, it's not actual, like, a direct communication. It could be just like how, you know, your good Christian people live today. You know, they understand that they have to be good, and then they live life, and then something comes in life, and then they just have this innate feeling in them, like, all right, this is the decision I'm gonna make. And I think maybe that's what they mean by living by God,
Yeah.
by God's
Yeah.
word. I don't know. I hope so.
Yeah.
Because that makes God seem like a good guy. But I am curious about, you know, the stories of the individuals who have actually, you know, apparently they've
Yeah.
been in complete direct communication with
Yeah.
an entity somewhere or somehow.
Yeah.
It scares the hell out of me, but I am
That is scary,
curious.
yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I think Joan of Arc was one of them, right?
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yeah, like God
yeah.
spoke to her. Yeah.
There's a lot of accounts of that happening. Wait, is Joan of Arc one of them? I think.
Yeah,
I think the romanticized accounts of her life
okay.
are like that. I'm not sure that's actually what happened.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe it is. Yeah, maybe she is one. A lot of conquerors, I think they used to claim, God's word as well.
Yeah, it's God's will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very tricky notion.
Yeah.
Sorry. You know me and those tricky things.
Yep. After that, the line says, "And I've been counting down the days because pretty soon this will be all gone, and you're the one that I'ma call on." Again, he's just another way to say that he relies on God's words and guidance to get him through things, and
and it does. Yeah, he. Oh, sorry. Go.
yeah, and just by the time that he's going to die, and everything that he has in his possession won't be there anymore, the person that he calls on to help him through this last and final stage of his life will be God. So he's the person, God is the one that he will call upon to help him through.
It does seem like he's talking to God. I liked these lines as well because you can kind of find this sort of how do I say this scenario not only through like life and death, but just through a relationship with someone, like a friend or a family member. Maybe he's been good with a family member so much that when things in their life, for example, like he's been going through all this stuff. Let me restart. Let's just say he's not talking about God, he's talking about a friend. He's going through all these things in life, but he's been good to his friend, and then all of a sudden things go good in his life. But then at one point they all go down, and then maybe he loses everything, he loses all his money. The fact that he's been good with this friend, this friend is always going to be there to help him.
Yeah.
And maybe he sees God like that as well.
As his friend.
Like his friend, And it doesn't even have to be God, you'd hope that you see real friends in that way as well, we all hope, our friends and our family, our real family, our real friends, the people that, you can call upon when things go wrong. And but I feel like he's definitely talking about God here.
Yeah. After that, it says, "That's how I know I'll be free and won't be locked inside a cage." Here, I think what he means is that because of his unwavering faith in God and how he trusts in God and his guidance.
Makes him live through goodness.
It helps him make the right decisions, and it keeps him outside of being locked up in jail or prison. Probably a reference and attributes to where he grew up, or his area.
Yeah,
he's probably seeing people that he knows getting locked up. But he has, because he has this unwavering faith in God, he has this trust in God, and he tries to do good all the time. It's what keeps him from being locked up in a cage.
I think this also works with that understanding I was trying to explain about heaven and hell. When you make the wrong decisions, your life's gonna feel like hell. And maybe hell could be prison. Maybe that's one way to understand it. You live bad, you make wrong decisions, you go to prison. Because life won't turn out so well in prison. And that's not people could say oh no, sometimes prison's good, sometimes bad. I don't know, there's been psychological experiments of people being put into certain positions, like being. I think they got a whole bunch. I forgot what the study was called, but they got
the Stanford Prison Experiment.
is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which,
Run us through this.
so
They made a movie about this as well. It was really intense,
there were two different movies about it.
Yeah. It was really
So
intense.
the Stanford Prison Experiment, which was a real experiment, and this happened way before there were any ethical guidelines in the School of Psychology, but since then there have been some ethical guidelines put up. But
I'm sorry to say this, but it was good that they managed to get an experiment like this happening before all the ethical guidelines came in. I'm not saying that ethical guidelines are bad, but like at the same time, you know, when you want to find out the truth, especially in sciences, these guidelines make it progress very, very difficult, like extremely difficult.
So it's good that there are ethical guidelines now.
Sorry about that.
But that's what makes the data and the results that was gathered from this experiment, that's what makes the information that we get from it so invaluable, because this sort of experiment could never be replicated again.
Yeah.
So what happened? So the experiment was this university in America, I think Stanford. This professor got his psychology students, and he split them up into groups, and one group were to be prisoners, and the other group were to be the prison guards.
Oh, was it a bunch of students?
they were.
I thought they just collected volunteers from anywhere.
I think there were psych students and volunteers, but they were getting paid, I think. And they built a full-on mock prison, and for the prisoners, they tried to make it as real as possible. So they actually got police cars to rock up to the participants' houses, and fake detain them and get them in the police car, then drive them to the fake prison. So it was kind of a really open kind of experiment. Like, here is your role as prison guard and here's your role as prisoner. Go do your job. But there wasn't really anything, like, there were no tasks to complete.
Yeah.
And then
because they were testing both the prisoners and the prison guards and their reactions with each other. Like, they were collecting pretty much everything they were collecting information about everything that was happening.
It was,
see how people react.
It was
how they act.
Pretty much an experiment to understand conformity and how people and how it was kind of based around how people were and how people started acting and behaving and thinking during the time of Hitler. And so what he ended up finding out was that without much guidance, the people that took on the role of prison guards they started kind of acting very inhumanely towards the prisoners. Started making them go through these punishments that were really unnecessary and kind of demeaning these people that were supposedly prisoners.
Yeah, I think the thing to understand about that is because the prison guards, they were in a position of power.
Yeah.
And
they went on a weird power trip.
They could easily abuse that, and they did.
And they did.
Yeah.
Which is really troubling. And people and like the participants after the experiment was cut had the effects that it had on their mind they're lasting a lifetime. It's
Well, what do you mean? What kind of effects?
I think some of them were just a bit disturbed very deeply and I think they kind of just lost a bit of faith in humanity.
Were these people the prisoners, the prison guards?
I think
both?
the prisoners and I can't remember reading. I should know this because I'm a psych major, but I think the prison guards were like a bit shocked and disappointed within themselves that they just assumed this role so quickly and the things that they did to people. And this wasn't even they weren't real prison guards.
Yeah, they didn't have to.
Yeah, they didn't have to do these things, but they did.
Act.
Yeah. So yeah, back on track with the song. That's how I know I'll be free and won't be locked inside a cage.
But what if he was the prisoner in this experiment? You know, he's definitely locked up.
I think this line also could be talking about his spiritual freedom. So his mind will be spiritually free, and how God just kind of opened up his mind and to be accepting about life and what may come, instead of locking his mind down inside a very narrow kind of view and what you would kind of refer to as a cage. Yeah.
So it could be about going to heaven or hell, like being felt free from hell, like in the afterlife. But I think the most reasonable way we can understand this line is when he's talking about just living here on earth. His decisions will never lead him to go to prison. I think that's pretty much the way we can say it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if the Christian understanding of hell has got to do anything with cages and being locked in a cage. I've always just heard it was just a horrible place where, and apparently you get burned to death every day or something. Or I don't know.
What was this?
Hell. The understanding of hell. I can't remember how they described hell, but I don't know. I think there's been references in the old text where apparently you will burn in the fires of hell or something like that.
Yeah.
That's
a scary thought.
But I don't know, like I said, I don't believe in heaven and hell as an afterlife thing. Let's go.
Cool. After that, the last 4 lines of verse 2 are the same as verse 1. Alrighty, now I'm finally on my way. I know I can't fail if God testing my faith. And if I don't hurry, I might be too late, even with all of this darkness in my grave. And then it jumps into the chorus. So to summarize verse 2, we just thought that he was pretty much showing his gratitude and appreciation and reliance on God.
Yeah, and that he pretty much depends on God, and he knows he's been in the good books with he knows he's been in the good books with God. So he kind of keeps faith in God that God will keep him out of prison, or like pretty much keep him safe.
Yeah, keep him good, safe and sound.
Yeah. So there's another chorus again, or another hook after that second verse, and then it leads us to his third verse, which he changes the way he sings it. Now he pretty much raps the third verse, which means he lets go of most of his vocal what do you call it? The vocal touches to the song.
So it's a nice change of pace for the song. And verse 3 starts off with, raised in the ghetto, I promised my family, told them that I'm about to take it to a whole other level. Here I think he's just talking about his aspirations of being an artist, and how because we read on Rap Genius that his family is very supportive of what he does, and so he promises his family that he's going to make it as an artist, and he's going to make his impression and impact on the industry.
Yeah, well, what he mentioned on Rap Genius was when he was young, one of his friends gave him a CD. Oh, if you guys don't know what a CD is, it's a compact disc. A disc is a a physical. It's somewhere where you can store data, pretty
Yes.
much, like a drive.
Yeah,
a
you know,
disk
like
drive.
a USB stick, a USB stick.
That's a
Yeah.
advanced disk.
But these were like larger and circular, and they were flat.
Yeah.
We're showing our age here, but that's a CD.
Yeah. Well, anyway, he received a CD and there was some instrumentals on it, and then so as a little kid he wrote lines and lyrics to them, and then he made songs out of these instrumentals, and he showed his family, and he told his family, you know what, this is how we're gonna get money. You know, I'm gonna become a musician.
Yeah,
And being the good family that they were, they supported him.
yeah,
You know, so when he talks about, you know, I promised my family, told them I'm about to take it to a whole nother level. He's pretty much reminded them. You remember when I said I was going to be a big musician? I'm going to get there. Like now
yeah. I'm gonna keep that promise.
yeah, he's progressing,
Yeah.
and he wants to remind them that he's progressing
Yeah.
through his promises. Raised in the ghetto.
Yep.
Yeah, he just, again, on Genius, and just from what we know about him, he's raised in Compton, which has been known to have a, you know, how do I say this?
A Crip neighborhood.
No. There's known to be a lot of gang activity, or is that the right way to call it? Gang activity,
Yeah.
or I don't know, but gang just means people. Like what's a better academic way we could say that?
Gang. Violent gang activity.
Yeah, okay. There's been a lot of violent gang activity. There's known to be a lot of Crips and Bloods involved, and like groups in Compton. So, saying he was raised in the ghetto, it's his acknowledgement that he didn't grow up in the most safest of places in the US. Yeah.
I think just by him mentioning that, I think he's trying to emphasize how difficult it is to get out of that environment.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a huge thing to promise his family that he's going to take it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of
And when you're in a bad environment as well, I don't want to say it's a bad place, but I'm just saying when you're in an environment that isn't optimal for you to grow occupationally,
well, just as a person, I guess.
yeah, you're gonna have a hard time growing occupationally because
Yeah.
your environment is not optimizing that growth. You know, probably he means in his musical career. You know, there's gonna be things holding him back.
Yeah.
Yeah, given the environment.
Yeah. After those lines, he says, "These N-words that stay in my city be getting all cozy, but I never settle."
And I think that's what we've been talking about as well.
Yeah.
With given the environment, he wants to get out of this environment. You know, he's aiming for something better. But everyone around him, they're getting comfortable with what their life is like, and they just want to stay. You know, they don't want to progress like he does.
Yeah. Yeah, because he has high aspirations that don't just see him stay in that sort of phase in his life forever. Yeah.
We're not exactly sure what it is, but we can only assume. We can easily assume he's talking about, because he says raised in the ghetto, and he says it through his rap voice as well. So he's probably talking about the troubling life.
Yeah.
You know, because we can affiliate, you know, the troubling life and rap music together.
Yeah.
You know, and that troubling life being like, you know, a life of crime. Yeah.
After that, he says, "And I'm making my way to heaven while all of my homies been facing the devil."
Yep. Again,
Yeah.
you know, he feels that, you know, he really wants to strive for goodness, while he feels that his peers they may not have that same sense of goodness that he does. Like, he knows that they don't have that same sense of goodness.
Yeah, as if they're falling to temptation, you know, they're succumbing to the devil.
Yeah.
But he feels that, you know, he's on his path of goodness.
I'm not sure if here he means religiously or he just means like through like socially,
Like just
like how, like of being good or not. You know, because you know when
in sins.
it's a little vague when you mention heaven and the devil.
Yeah.
But we know it's two opposing points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two opposing forces.
There's a dichotomy here of like, you know, he's trying to get here while everyone else is trying to get there.
Yeah. Then he says, and speak of the devil, that N-word trying to get in my brain. Here I think when he says speak of the devil and how the devil's trying to get in his brain, I think he's trying to say that he's resisting all the temptations, you know, resisting the bad things, and also
he's
resisting the negativity that from getting to his head, you know, so that he won't succumb and fail on accomplishing his dreams or his goals.
Yeah, sadly, with the whole the devil, the figure of the devil, most people nowadays, they understand that figure as the figure of ill will and badness and evil and wrong. And so with the Christian faith, the devil, this is an incarnation, you know, brought to earth. The devil tempts people, you know, tries to pretty much like seduce people into doing bad things, or eventually into bad things. Like there's stories in the Bible about Jesus, and I think Jesus, he traveled the desert for 40 days.
Yeah.
And, you know, he was struggling in the desert because, you know, there's barely any life out there in the desert. And there was this point where Jesus was just walking along the desert, and then he must have seen like a shop or something, or like a person, you know, and then he goes up to the person, and then I think he recognized the person was the devil.
Yeah. And
then the person was like, hey, have some of this, you know, you look thirsty.
Yeah.
And Jesus is like, nah, you're the devil, no thanks. And then but Jesus was hungry because he'd been like fasted for 40 days, and the devil was like, hey, have this bread, like, you look starving, come on man, you're thin. And Jesus, you know, knowing who this individual was, just refused, like, nah. And, you know, I think the devil kept trying to tempt Jesus.
Yeah.
So the understanding of the devil is the devil tries to deceive you or, you know, trick you into things. And I didn't know what, I remember the devil, I remember in the story, the devil was offering Jesus bread. Okay. Because he had been in the desert for so long, no food. Yeah. That the devil was offering bread. But I don't know, man. Is that really the way to see that you're being tempted, like by getting bread? Because it's this individual. Maybe if he did see an individual, this guy could have actually just been like a good guy. Yeah. Like, hey, have some bread.
It could just be they had to think of some sort of example.
Yeah, of like how the devil tempts you.
Yeah, maybe it's not a very good example, but
maybe I'm not remembering the story properly.
Yeah, okay.
I might have remembered the story incorrectly.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Logically, to me, it doesn't show how someone is being tempted into bad behavior.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Maybe I probably don't remember the story correctly, but from what I remember right now, it didn't really seem like Jesus was being tempted into doing anything bad. It's just he was hungry.
Yeah.
Maybe when Jesus went out to the desert, he promised everyone, all right, everyone, I'm not gonna take any food from everyone. You know, I'm gonna prove to you how strong I am, and that God's faith will, let me live.
Yeah.
So watch me go through the desert. And then here, when he's really hungry, someone's here offering him something.
Yeah.
Maybe it was him going against his word by taking the food. Maybe that's what it was, the devil.
Yeah.
Maybe this guy wasn't actually the devil that came up and tried to tempt him food.
Yeah.
Or sadly, this might have been the case as well. Even though this doesn't work because Jesus, he was a very open, accepting guy. Maybe the guy he saw in the desert was a known murderer.
Or something, yeah.
Yeah. And then he had some bread and he was traveling through the desert. Like, hey man, it's been a long road. I
Yeah.
got some bread. You want some? And Jesus knew that guy's a known murderer.
Yeah.
Can't take his food.
Yeah. Like the hot chocolate guy.
What's the hot chocolate guy?
Oh, you haven't heard of the I don't know if it was in Melbourne or Sydney. It's definitely Australian, but I think it was Australian, not sure. But he would target young women who'd just come out from
Prison?
nightclubs and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And if they were alone, especially, he'd buy a cup of hot chocolate, and he'd go up to them and be like, you look like you're having a rough night, or you look cold, have a hot chocolate on me. And then they'd drink it, and I think he'd be charming or something like that. They'd drink it, but it was laced with some sort of sedative, and then they'd black out, and then he would take them and
what
rape
a fiend.
and rape them.
What a fiend.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
But how did they know? How did they know that's what happened? Did they do
Because-
tests on these ladies to
Yeah.
find that they had?
Because when the girls recover and then they report what happened to the police, they all had the same key thing in the stories. It was the hot chocolate.
Yeah.
So, a man approached them with a hot chocolate.
But did they do drug testing on the girls to see if they were spiked?
Well, obviously if the girl's I blacked out, I don't know what happened, and blah, blah, blah. And, yeah, probably they did do testing, or they tested it if the girl actually did get raped or not.
Yeah.
Then they would, put one and one
But maybe
together.
this guy had such a keen eye and he could see the most drunk girls, so he didn't have to drug them, and he just, offered them.
Well, yeah, I think if they report that
'Cause
they'd been
hot-
raped,
Yeah.
and if they reported that they'd blacked out or whatever, or they felt as if they'd been drugged, then of course, yeah, they would do some sort of drug testing just to see if it's in their
'Cause
system.
I'm saying,
and
a
stuff.
hot chocolate, it does make you relaxed and tired. The high sugar content
Yeah.
will make you very relaxed.
Yeah, in this case,
Yeah.
they found out that he'd been putting stuff in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what a dirty.
Yeah, I know.
Here in Melbourne.
I don't know. I think it's Australian. I
Oh,
remember hearing
filthy
this a
mongrel.
long time ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, maybe Jesus knew that
To be
there-
wary of this
there-
person.
There was something in that bread.
Yeah, because he was infamous for.
Yeah, people did want Jesus dead
Yeah.
around that time
Yeah.
because he was this individual changing how people were behaving, and that didn't work for the economy, for
Yeah.
those who control the economy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, when he talks about, speak of the devil, he's trying to get in my brain, he's probably talking about how he's tempted into bad things, or he's finding it harder to make better decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After that, it goes, so I roll my weed to ease my mind a bit. Sometimes I pace myself and take my time with it. Here, I think he's just expressing how he chooses to kind of wind down and relax and find some peace of mind through these tough times. And he does it by smoking marijuana.
Yeah, consuming some herbs, which are known to prevent people from taking any sudden action.
Yeah, because marijuana is supposed to relax your body and mind and help slow you down.
I'm not sure if it helps slow you down, but it puts you in a different state of consciousness.
Consciousness? Or is it a different state of consciousness?
Well, I don't know.
Does it tap into your subconscious? Do you become unconscious?
I mean, you're in a different state.
Okay, yeah.
In a different state of consciousness.
Yeah.
because you're still awake when you ingest marijuana, right?
Yeah.
So
What about people that green out?
Isn't that consciousness? Oh, well, they're in a different state of unconsciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah, but within that state, apparently, a lot of people do report a feeling of peace, a sense of peace.
Yeah.
And I think he is trying to tap into that state so that he can make those better decisions. You know, he
Yeah.
can slow himself down, like you said, and, you know, avoid the temptation of making the wrong decisions. You know, like maybe he was on a diet and, you know, he really wanted to have that chocolate cake that Mama made the other night.
Yeah.
But he had to relax himself somehow, and
Yeah.
so he, you know, he smoked some marijuana to slow him
Yeah.
down and realized, you know what, maybe I don't need that cake. Maybe I just need to relax.
Yeah. It's the same way people play sports or go out drinking, you know, and, you know, or singing, right, making music and drawing to relieve their stress. This is his go-to to relieve his stress, which is, you know, he just smokes some herb.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the main thing he needed to do was just slow down, relax, and not make any sudden decisions.
Yeah, not get rash with anything.
because he goes, sometimes I pace myself and take my time.
Yeah, lest he makes a bad decision. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, there are many reports of individuals who are intoxicated with marijuana that they're not the most timely people compared to the non-intoxicated people. So apparently smoking weed makes you slower.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if that's true, because there are reports from other individuals that it doesn't make them slower, and if anything, it makes them more timely. But that's hard to say. This is not all scientific data that were noting. These are all just, you know, this is just word on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After that, he says, plus I be staying on track like I'm locomotive, and I'm planning to make it, so it doesn't matter if you never notice a man in the making. So here I think he's just talking about how he chooses to stay focused so as to achieve his goals, because he plans to make it. He plans to succeed.
Yeah, and this is likely in his musical career.
Yeah. And the part where it says, so it doesn't matter if you never notice a man in the making. Here I think that it reminds me of the idea of how people tend to like or take notice of an artist once they're really big and famous.
Yeah,
you know, that's when you notice them. But did you ever really notice them before, when they just started out? You know, like you didn't really hear about them.
This is another, I guess some will call it a sensitive topic.
Yeah.
Of how certain entertainers are famous while
Yeah.
others aren't.
Yeah.
It's a lot of it has got to do with marketing, which some people know as brainwashing. It's technically the same thing. Marketing, brainwashing, it's the same. It's influencing an individual to consider something, whether it be a product or a person. You know, you expose someone enough to something, they're gonna get comfortable with it.
Yeah.
You know, if I expose, like, if I put commercials of apple juice everywhere, and then in the latest movies, all the characters are drinking apple juice. I see politicians down the street, you know, they're drinking apple juice, and all of a sudden, everyone around me, you know, I go to parties, I go to my mum's house, I go here, there, everyone's drinking apple juice. I'm eventually going to consider some apple juice. I'm just saying, you know. And it's the same thing with famous people as well.
Yeah.
Or people becoming famous. If they've got the right marketing team behind them, they're going to be famous whether you really like the music or not.
Yeah, I mean, like when you sign to a major record label,
Yeah.
I mean, they've got the power to
influence.
to influence and to promote.
Yeah, and that's cool. You know, like
Yeah.
you hope to hell that you sign up with like, you know, a good label that can make life a lot easier in terms of reaching out to others and getting that popularity.
Yeah.
If that's what you care about. If you really care about, you know, being that famous.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what were
Yeah.
we talking about?
And how when an artist is just starting out and you know, they're still upcoming and they're still rising, still putting in the
not
hard work
noticing.
for the recognition. Yeah, he's saying here it doesn't matter to him if you don't notice him
Yeah.
while he's trying to get all the way up there.
Yeah, while he's not famous yet.
Yeah, because his end goal is to make it there eventually. Yeah. And I'll be really honest. Like, I didn't know about Buddy until the song he did with A$AP Ferg, how A$AP Ferg featured on it, the Black song.
Yeah.
Black-
I only
Black is
know,
Black.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
only
one.
know this artist through you. Like, I've never heard of this song
Oh,
before.
okay, yeah. And then through that song, you know, on YouTube, I was just clicking all the other related and recommended songs, and then I stumbled upon Shine, and it just happened to be his the first song the first single that he released in 2016.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lovely song. I think it's
I like it,
romantic. Yeah, definitely.
After that, he says, and I close my eyes sometimes and dive in a pool of my dreams, and I've been searching far and high and wide until I found my wings.
Yes.
I think this is a very dreamer-like sentiment, and how he's just a person that had big dreams.
Yeah. So here he's likely talking about he had a lot of big hopes and dreams, or he has a lot of big hopes and dreams, and then somewhere in his life he finally found a way to achieve them.
Yeah.
Or he finally got to a point where he could now achieve them. Like achieving it will be a certainty. He probably found that part in his life.
Yeah, which is the symbolism of wings, how he found his wings.
Yeah, found his wings. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Because he's like, now there's a certainty.
Yeah.
You know? Because maybe he was always striving towards being a, you know, in his case, a musician, but he probably got a good deal with someone, and he understands, you know what, now it's certain that I'm going to get somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think with this song, he released this song when he was signed by Pharrell Williams.
Yeah. What was the record label? I Am Other or something it was called?
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, I Am Other.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I guess him knowing, oh, now I'm with this label, you know, there's more of a guarantee
Yeah.
that I'm gonna
Fly.
you know, I'm gonna grow, you
Yeah.
know, and get that popularity.
Yeah.
For sure.
These
that
are my
fame.
wings. Yeah.
Yeah.
After that, he says, and these are the last few lines of verse 3, you got to be crazy if you say you fly as high as I do. As I make it to the pearly gates, I'm praying that they gonna open up. Here I think he's just saying I don't know, I kind of feel like he's putting himself up on a pedestal.
Yeah, I feel like he's it's a bit of a, how do I say this?
A boastful
Yeah, it's a bit
line.
boastful. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to be crazy if you say you fly as high as I do.
Or maybe he's trying to say he's that much closer to God than most people,
Yeah.
and that his aspirations are really high. It's just a way for him to say that he's aspiring extremely high.
I feel like there's a bit of an exclusion, or like, you know, he's trying to exclude everyone else from like something he feels about himself.
Yeah.
Maybe he feels as a very Christian musician, maybe he feels that no one's going to be as faithful as him in the famous world.
Or that his relationship with God is unique to...
Yeah, and no
to
one
him.
will compare
Yeah.
to how much he believes in God and what his good faith has brought to him.
Yeah. And he's hoping that this good faith will allow him to enter heaven. Because he talks about here, he hopes that the pearly gates
yeah.
will open up to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He definitely there's definitely a sense of boastfulness. Is it boastfulness or boast?
Boastfulness.
Yeah. And I can't figure out exactly what it is, but it could be about his religious faith. It could be his progression in the music industry, because he says, like, you got to be crazy if you're going to say you fly as high as I do, because you know, when he talks about flying, it is a bit ambiguous to understand what he means. You know, that's what we're trying to figure out.
Yeah. The other thing I think he means by that is he could just be simply saying that he's really high off his kite, off of weed.
Yeah, maybe. So he's going to need some eye drops.
Yeah, he's going to need some Visine.
Yeah, maybe he has a horrible addiction, and he understands that no one's addiction is as bad as his. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does hope to, you know, be accepted in the gates of heaven, because, you know, the understanding of heaven is where all the great people go.
Yeah.
It's this is where the talk about heaven is a bit tricky as well, because, you know, a lot of people, when we think of when they think of great people, we understand them as being in heaven. And, you know, it's because of what we perceive of them being great. Does that mean they're definitely in heaven? Because what if we saw them great because of this, but what if in their life they weren't really good people? Does that still mean they're going to go to heaven just because everyone else says, like, oh yeah, he's definitely in heaven? You know, what's right there?
Does it kind of remind you of what's that animated movie that was really good, about the kid that plays guitar and then he goes into the afterlife?
Coco.
Yeah, Coco. Yeah. So in the movie Coco, there's this kid, Latin American kid, and he loves to play the guitar, but in his family, like, for some reason, the family forbids any kind of music at all.
They forbid music because their great-grandmother had trouble with a musician.
Yeah, because so the great-grandmother, her husband was a great musician, but I think he chose his career over the family, and so she was so distraught and heartbroken from that she forbid any kind of music in the family for like many generations to come, up until the generation of that kid. And then that kid
they still
they did, but with that kid, he goes into the afterlife on the Day of the Dead to find his great-grandfather.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, sorry, spoiler. Ooh, I didn't mean that. But yeah, he ends up finding his supposed great-grandfather, and he's a famous musician. Everybody in the living life still knows him and still adores his music. But then he finds out that
this guy's horrible.
Yeah,
he's a horrible
murdered
person.
His best friend, because his best friend was a better musician and he wrote music that he couldn't write himself. And so he murdered his best friend to steal the music off of him, steal his musical idea, and he rose to fame because of it. In the afterlife, he was living... in the afterlife, you know, people had so many offerings to give him.
Yeah, people still praised him in the afterlife. So in normal life and in the afterlife, this guy was being praised.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, he was just a murderer, and he only got to his position because of the bad things he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, that's what makes this whole like understanding of the afterlife a bit tricky.
Yeah,
you know, and that's what I was saying. You know, what one culture sees as bad could be good to another culture, vice versa.
Yeah,
and it's hard to say. Like people I know, like I don't know who's really worthy of heaven or not, because they're both good and bad in their own ways.
Yeah, everyone has a good and bad.
Yeah, this whole idea of who deserves to go to heaven. Yeah, it's not the simplest idea, especially when it's up to a religion or a religious deity to decide who's worthy or not. Yeah. If there is an afterlife which involves a heaven.
Yeah. Buddhism is not so much like that. We're more about like do good in this life so that in your next life good things will come to you.
That's still an afterlife.
It's still an afterlife, but it's not
maybe
descending upwards or downwards.
maybe that afterlife of heaven is being born into a better
yeah.
life. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
nice way to think of heaven as well.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
your next life is going to be a nicer one.
Mm.
Maybe, but that's hard to say because like, what makes the next life better? Because what if in my previous life I was rich as hell and like, money was never a problem? Does that mean in my next life I'm still going to be rich and like
Yeah,
how
like
can it
you
be
just
better?
like you might
Maybe-
continue to just have a good life.
Maybe, yeah, but maybe it's not about the riches or anything. Maybe it's what was not so good in your previous life will work out better in your next life.
Yeah.
But then hopefully the afterlife is fair and it takes away the goodness in your old life and gives you the goodness, another goodness in the old life. Like how do I say this? A was bad, like case A was bad in your old life, but case B was good in your old life. Now in your new life,
Yeah.
case A is
Yeah.
good, but case A is bad. Wait, did I say that the right way? But you guys know what I mean. Like it's just, maybe it's flipped around.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Hopefully,
Like
for,
to achieve some sort of balance.
I would like that for balance because
Yeah.
there's going to be an extent where you can't just have it getting better and better and better and better and better.
Yeah, no. What I what I think I
can
mean
we
is
have
like
it like that if there
if
is
you,
an afterlife?
Yeah, I think the idea of it is like if you like so in one life you had a really nice and well balanced life. If you just keep maintaining that goodness in that life, when you die and reincarnate in your next life, you will still be given the same opportunities to maintain that level of goodness and balance in your life. And then
Do you,
you
reckon,
keep.
do you reckon it's like that?
I think that's the idea of it. I'm not sure.
Is that the Buddhist belief?
I think so. I don't know. I'm not the most devout Buddhist. But it reminds me of something that one of my friends in primary school told me. Her parents took her to some sort of fortune teller or whatever, and so my friend, she writes a lot. She's an avid storyteller. Like she wrote pretty well. And we were kind of competing in a lot of writing competitions in primary school. But she was told that she writes so much in this life because in her life before she had a lot of unfinished business. And I didn't get that. I didn't get any more information about that from her, but that's all she said. And she was still trying to figure it out herself at the time.
Yeah. How does this fortune teller have this understanding? Like this
Don't
means
know.
this.
It's pseudoscience to me.
Is it even science? It's pseudo fortune.
Pseudo fortune. Yeah. Yeah. So back on track with
Yeah, sorry.
verse 3.
I love the whole reincarnation and afterlife
Idea,
yeah.
So back on track to verse 3. Yeah, those lines just pretty much wrap up the verse. So to summarize, we pretty much just think that verse 3 is talking about his many distractions in his life while on his way to fulfill his dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But given that there are all these distractions, like the devil tempting him, he's going to stay focused. And he is staying focused, and he's going to excel in his dreams.
Yeah.
Especially given that, he's got this, he had this opportunity with a famous star. Yeah, I think he's moved to a different label at the moment.
Yeah, his current label's not with Pharrell's
Pharrell,
one.
yeah. But yeah, he's saying here, given all the distractions, he's gonna stay focused and continue to progress.
Yeah, because of his unwavering faith in God.
Indeed.
And after verse 3, he ends it all with the chorus again.
Yeah. So we should sum up the whole song. And how do you want to say we see this whole song?
Yeah, well, we see God and his faith in God as a recurrent theme throughout the whole song. So I think the whole song just speaks about having faith in God, and if you do good, good things will come to you, which is his opportunity to pursue and succeed in his musical career.
Yeah, so to wrap it up, it seems that his loyalty to his God and his religion empowers him to excel in his musical career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the essence of the song.
As usual, when we were looking through the lines and the lyrics, we had some questions coming to mind, some philosophical questions. And, you know, it got us thinking about how do we understand communication to or from God or gods, you know? Can communication ever be direct communication with God? Can we ever believe the apparent indirect communications from God? Also, we were thinking about, is there an afterlife? Or if so, what is the afterlife? Is there really a heaven or hell? Is heaven or hell just a perceived experience that we live here on earth? And is there such thing as reincarnation?
And also, I got to thinking about if you can still go to heaven even after sinning. Does seeking atonement still get you into heaven?
Also, in terms of music, does being famous mean that you're a better artist? Or does it just mean you're a better advertised artist? But also, regarding a few lines in the song, is it wrong to be accepting and comfortable with what life has given you? You know, like the people in your life, the places you were born into in your life, or, you know, the socio-economic status that you were born into, you know? Is it wrong to be comfortable with that?
And then it got me to thinking about materialism and after you die, you can't take everything with you. So, you know, what is the point in acquiring all these things in your life if you can't bring it with you into the afterlife?
Yeah. And I was also wondering, does the frequency or the volume of goodness that an individual expresses or performs, does that truly conclude if they are good? You know?
And with goodness, what definitively constitutes as good or goodness? Is it really possible to ever define what's good?
But yeah, there were just some things we were wondering about, you know. They got us thinking. Just some questions.
Yeah.
But yeah. Alright, so that's all we have, guys. As usual, just let us know how we're doing, what you guys like, what you guys don't like. You know, just give us feedback.
Yeah, if you want to see more of something, if you want to see less of something, just let us know.
Yeah. And of course, we always apologize for anything that we have said that may be offensive or incorrect. And if you would like to correct us or tell us what's right about what we said, then please do so, because we love learning, we love knowledge, we are forever learning. So yeah, we apologize. But yeah, other than that, I'm Dan.
And V.
And we're bringing you lyrics at home. Thanks.